Well, hello and welcome to episode 19 of Hull Seahawks Behind the Curtain. And we're finally there, no longer pre-season episodes. It is NIHL National Division Week 1 with not only myself, Martin, and Matty Davis. We're joined by Tom Barry. Thanks very much for joining us, Tom.
Cheers, no worries.
Of course. Another one to tick off the list as a first timer here on the pod. Hope you do enjoy yourself, and I know the fans will enjoy hearing from you throughout the show. We may as well dive straight in because I tell you what, my excitement hasn't calmed down yet from this weekend's games. We'll start off with Peterborough, Matty. Long trek down there. I know a lot of the fans made a bit of an early start, early finishes at work to make sure they were down there supporting the boys for the week one, season opener. We know there's a lot of eyes on this game against a tough team in the Peterborough Phantoms. And we didn't make it easy, did we? But that was one hell of a result.
No, it was great. I think great firstly just to see how many went. Just to get that many fans there on a Friday, I guess it just shows what people are they're getting behind this year, and sort of I guess they're all excited for the season to start, but I think they're just excited to see what this team can do, I think. And yeah, like I said before, it's always hard going in there, and again, we'd not seen them this year yet, so we don't know what they're like. But obviously, they've made a couple of decent signings, and yeah, always a tough game there. But I think, look, for us, it was. We started a little bit nervy. We started actually really well, and then took a bad penalty on a PK, and then just sort of give them a little bit of life. And the thing is, in there, like things happen so quickly. Like you can turn around and there's 3 goals gone in, and you're like, what's going on here? And I think we're just a bit, sort of shell shocked a little bit, and the lads sort of, I don't know, we needed to get in after the first and just sort of get our composure back a little bit, and just I needed to just say to them, look, just calm down a little bit. There was a lot of shouting going on, and it was our rate was erratic. So we just needed to calm down, and we have enough in the room now where we can go down to teams, and we have enough we create enough in the games we've played up to now. Obviously we've played 6 games, but we've shown that we can create. Even the game in Sheffield where we got beat, it was we're clear to see we had plenty of the play, and we had enough chances to win that game. But yeah, it is what it is, and we came back and obviously did a great job getting back into that game, which is hard to do anyway in there. But especially with sort of the way we've started in general, it was sort of the lads have got pressure on them this year. I think they know that. So it was good, great to see, great for the fans that went there, and obviously it was good boost for the lads to start the league.
Talking
With a
of,
win.
yeah, I say you did a pretty good summary of it. And as you say, Tom, I'm going to throw this one to you. Matt, you mentioned, of course, Deck got us underway to a perfect start from the blue line, firing through that traffic. But then I thought, sitting in the stands, it's difficult to sometimes work out exactly what the issues are. Of course, Matty on the bench, and you guys, your wealth of experience, know a bit more about what's going on. But as a defenseman, how difficult is it at times when the floodgates open, essentially like they did in that first period in Peterborough? We went from 1-0 up into 4-1 down in the space of about 7 minutes. How difficult, the full team's, got a responsibility for defending, but you as defensemen particularly, you're under a lot of pressure. When things do go wrong, how do you sort that out, make sure that, you get that fixed pretty quickly? Because, things can really go awry quickly against these top teams.
Yeah, I think when the game's going like that, you just have to simplify the game, do the simple things right, and just build from the back really. Because like on Friday night, we went 4-1 down pretty quick, and things can start to get away from you. So you just have to be simple, direct, and like I say, Deck there with a big goal got us back in there, 4-1. And then we quickly pulled it back. And yeah, I think playing with a player like Deck as well, he's got a lot of experience in the elite league and that, and we didn't really seem to panic. I don't think us D men at the back. We knew we'd not been good enough, but we knew we'd got it in the locker room to get that back. So yeah, it weren't panic stations, but it was like like let's switch on now. Let's get it done. So
And of course, as you mentioned, you have that chat, you get that 15 minutes between periods, and suddenly the game's turned on its head. The goal from Lee pretty early on in the second period. Then, well, Lee Bonner first of all, then Lee Pollitt follows up with another one. Peterborough then steal one back. They then lead 5-3. And then, Emil's doubled, the second of which were about 40 odd seconds on the clock to send that one in at 5-5. The fans were absolutely jubilant. I was down there, in the ice arena on at Peterborough on the Friday. And to go from the 4-1 down to the 5-5 in the space of 20 minutes against a top team, it just showed that, exactly as you said, simplified things, played exactly the way you spent a long time over the last month, on the ice, working together, building this chemistry, and you just sort of let things flow in that second period.
yeah, definitely. I think you saw in that second period we started to take over the game. Um, at no point really did I feel that they were the better team. I didn't feel overwhelmed by them, let's say. I always knew we had it in our room to beat it. We were just going to beat ourselves if we lost that game. But like I say, in that second period, we really turned it on and really took over. I don't really think we gave them many looks after that, to be fair. We really did take over after that, yeah.
No, I think I remember a few people saying I was, on those, in the stands, 5-on-5 on the evening. We were the better side, and I don't think anyone can really deny that. And as I say, Matty said, a couple of penalties cost us in those early goals in the first, but they didn't score in the second 30 minutes of that game. And against a team that's as stacked as Peterborough, Matty, how happy with the way that the guys switched on and just shut down shop?
Yeah, I think, like I said, the second period we obviously needed a quick start, and look, I think it was like Tom said there. I didn't feel like there was a better team in that first period anyway, but I just felt like we just sort of needed to just calm down a little bit, get back to our game, start skating again, start getting it behind them. And then they started taking penalties, and obviously with that, with our PP and how good it's looking at, at the minute, that I knew we had looks to get back in the game, and luckily we got one early. And then Paul with a massive goal as well, which is massive. Just to get that depth scoring is key, and that's sort of what you need to.
It was a dirty goal, wasn't it? Alex and Lee were absolutely grafting on that line. 2 or 3 times the puck nearly came out around the crease.
Yeah, that's it. And like I say, all good teams have good depth, and good depth scoring's massive for us. And we saw it last night. I'm sure we'll talk about that. But yeah, look, I think that game there. This early on in the season, I think usually you would say it's down to X and O's, and you want to get how you want to play down. But I feel like we've had long enough together now. We got together really early. We had the lads in as early as I could possibly get them in, especially like the lads that live around here, and Tom and that. So we had we've gone through exactly how I want us to play, and everyone on that team I think knows that now. So now it's for us in a situation like we are, it's we're coming off a tough year. So I've said to all of them, like, we for us it's winning games, and keeping the momentum of what we have at the minute going. We're going to be a tough team to stop, and I think that game said everything in terms of we're not going to sit down and die like maybe we would have done in the past. But I think this year there's a lot of characters in that room, and we're just a team full of grafters really. And I think everyone everyone's just on board. The room's great already. I think the lads are all getting along really well. It's a real good vibe in there, and I think everyone's fighting for each other, which, um, again, that's what all the best teams have, and teams that want to win something need that. So, yeah, it was like I say, it was a great start, and to come back like we did as well, it means a little bit more, to the lads.
Yeah, it was a pretty special one. I do remember seeing. I was looking at social media, sort of end of the first period. I think there was that sort of bit of it was a difficult feeling. You got to say it. Can't imagine how it was for you in the dressing room, but with the fans in the stands, it was a bit of a we just need them to get going a little bit. And we're looking at social media, and we're looking at the fans of the other teams going, ah, it was all talk, that sort of thing. The 4-1 down, and it was 6-5 at the end of the night. It was absolutely brilliant, but. Just going to run through the point scorers on the night. I know statistics aren't one for everyone. There's a lot of people who, players alike who some like, setting, records and keeping track. Some players just don't care. They couldn't care less as long as the W's on the board. But Deck Barmer, 3 points, 2 goals, 1 assist. Brock Bartholomew, 2 assists on the night. Bobby Young, 2 assists on the night. Lee Bonner, 1 goal. Bobby Chamberlain, 3 assists. Lee Pollitt, 1 goal. Alex Kent, 1 assist. Emil Svek, 2 goals. And Finley Ulrich with an assist. Matty, just before we move on to Swindon, and this will tie us in quite nicely. Just as I was leaving the Peterborough rink on Friday, what you said to me was, my nerves can't take another one of those. That was awful. And why did the guys have to deliver something twice as bad on Sunday?
You tell me, mate. I don't know. I think, look, I said this in an interview with Colin that every night's going to be hard. You're going to get the odd night where someone turns it on, or if we have a bad night, hopefully we don't. But it happens. That's ice hockey. But look, I think you're playing against top teams. You look at their lineup last night. They're missing Aaron, which is a massive part of it. But other than that, they've got their full team, and they're a real good team. Look, they haven't been on the ice as much as we have. That's an advantage, but they've also got a little bit of a thing to fight for. They're obviously backs against the wall at the minute, and they're all obviously playing for each other. I think they showed that last night. Fair play to them. Coming into our rink like that and getting a point. I mean, it shows how they're a professional team. I mean, I think Rennie Maher deserves a lot of the credit for that. I mean, I thought it was great last night. But look, if I've got my other hat on in terms of my ownership hat on, I love that stuff, because the fans that are coming in first game, if they're coming in to see that, they're the ones that people love, right? So as long as we win, I don't care. But yeah, I would rather us do a better job in terms of shutting it down and winning the game. But look, it's entertainment, right, as well, and you've got to think of it like that. And we are, this is not even my bias hat. I signed this team because I thought we'd win, but I signed this team, and this is a really, quite an entertainment team as well with what we have. In terms of imports, anyway, like I think Brock's highlight reel. He's doing stuff out there that's just silly at times, and silly in my opinion as well. For his times I don't want him to do things, but he's just that sort of player. We're going to see some special things from him, I think. But and Emil, obviously, you're going to get what you get from him. So look, it's like I keep saying, we've got a good group, but nothing's won yet. And for me, it's all eyes on MK now, and just keeping it going. Solid. All I can say on the other side of it, in terms of, I guess, shutting teams down and stuff, like, I'm not just saying this because he's here, I've said it to you already, but Baz, massive. He's been massive for us. I can't speak more highly of him in terms of how he's come in and just sort of he's come in great shape. He's ready to go. He wants to win. he's fit straight into the group. Obviously, he knows a lot of the lads in there anyway, but you could ask him this, but I think he's a real good set of lads in there. Everyone, really gets along with each other, and that's a massive part of it. But yeah, in terms of on the ice, he's my top D pairing at the minute, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. He's been unreal. So yeah, that massively helps.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, speaking on the Swindon game, it was it was a well, like I say, it was a very entertaining game. Stood in on the gantry and watching these players, like some of these players for me, especially for the first time. And Connor said to me off air, like about how much of shift Tom put in over this weekend, like you just alluded to there, Matty and stuff. But I'll ask you this, Tom. Obviously, 14 shots in the first period to Swindon's 4, and obviously Swindon scored twice. Do you panic at that point, or do you reckon, like, I think you kind of touched on it with the Peterborough game, or did you always have that confidence in the guys on the ice that you'd get the job done and you just kind of keep calm and carry on kind of thing?
I think with that is like, I was talking to my dad about this actually today, about last night, and he said to me, it weren't a matter of if we were going to score, it was like when it was going to happen. I felt fully that we were going to win that game for the first 10 minutes. We started really strong. They got 2 goals that kind of took like the momentum a bit. But I think everybody just thought, it's coming. The goals are coming. I think we outshot them quite heavily. And like you say, they are a good hockey team as well. I'd definitely put them up there. Just wanted to say the top 4 teams in this league, and I think we made a statement last night that we are one of the top teams this year, and we mean business. Like I say, I feel like we controlled that game. They didn't really have sustained sort of pressure in our zone. Just what they got really was from our sort of mistakes off the rush, etc. But we go straight back at them and really put their D under pressure, work them down low. I think, like you say, with our pace as well, I think we catch teams as well on going back at them because we are sneaky fast. I think so. Yeah, I think last night was the out of the 2 games. I think last night was the better performance as a whole. But I think this weekend really showed that we mean business this year, basically. Yeah.
I say on the night.
Yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying there.
No, I say on the night you've mentioned there, Tom, and Martin will come on to us again in a minute, but you mentioned about the shot deficit. It was a lot of it was one-way traffic, and you've mentioned it was a case of if and not if, but when we'll score. Was it just a case of trying to create better opportunities, would you say? I did mention on the commentary I think it was probably about halfway into the second period, just needed to test Rennie a little bit more, and I say we did. I thought we were dominating possession, had control of the ice, and most of it was in their defensive zone, but it was just a case of trying to make him move around the crease a little bit more, trying to not put so many into the glove, and it was that thing of just working through the levels almost. You could see the team getting better and better as the game went on.
Yeah, I mean, I think to be fair, Rennie played a really good game last night. Credit to him, because we did put a lot of pucks on net. But I think just making him move a bit, and I think as well, like he can only sustain that sort of pressure for so long until he's going to make mistakes. Like, we're all human. And the more pucks you put on net, the more likely you are going to get goals. And I think, like you say, it was a matter of when we were going to score, and it would come in. And like you say, he did play a good game, but I think maybe we could have made him move a bit more. But I think we did a pretty good job, to be fair, in making grade A scoring opportunities. I think Rennie did just have a good game, but obviously, we were that dominant. We did get, some goals there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we go into the third period of Speck getting that early goal, Matty, and obviously starting to really take that control there. What were your thoughts on the bench? Obviously, like Tom just touched on it there about, to be honest, watching from the gantry, I felt quite confident myself. I wasn't that worried or anything like that because you've always talked previously before about the intensity and going fast and things like that. And you could see the difference to this season already compared to what I saw last season. No disrespect to anyone from last season, but were you worried at all, or did you just have full belief in the lads on the ice?
Look, it's always you never look. I think when the goalie's playing well, you're never sure. All you can say to the lads, and all I did say to them is just to keep going. We did need to get the puck to the net more. We did need to create a little bit more traffic, get in front of the net. That's one thing that I'm quite big on, and making sure that, look, we have, our decor this year are pretty good at, we use the points quite a lot in the way that we play. We use the walls and get it back to the points quite a lot. We've got a lot of lads that are good in front of the net. Bobby Bonner, Bobby Young, Finn. There's loads, Nath. So, sometimes a lot of them, sometimes they'll look for the tip and maybe not take the eyes away of the goalie, and that's one thing I'm big on, is getting in front of the goal. These goalies are good. If they see it, they'll save it. So yeah, it's just little things like that. It's just little cues to make sure that they're thinking about doing that. And yeah, it's just fair. If you have to back them, right, you put them in the positions to do it. And they've got they'll come good. And we miss so many, massive sort of, on another night they're going in like Town's back door. That was, open net. We had plenty like that. Emil breakaways, stuff like that. Like on another night they're going in there, same thing. So sometimes it's just how it goes, right? I think, when a goalie's playing well, you're never sure. And it is worrying. They've got, arguably probably, someone with the best shot in the league in Lublelli, and you never, if he has a chance in any area. I mean, Geordie was massive. He, obviously saved that breakaway, and you've got to back the lads. But yeah, I was confident. I never thought we was losing the game last night. Like, I couldn't see them winning the game. But there was always that chance of what happened there, where we didn't put them away. So with 3-2, how good they are, at the end of the game. I haven't seen the goal back yet at the end. I'll have to have a look at that and sort of analyze it a little bit. But I thought it was weak. It was a weak goal, I think. But look, again, it's the way it goes. Sometimes these things happen like that. And again, character. Great character from the lads to get it done.
Just want to ask you quickly, Matty, about something you mentioned there. The Lublelli breakaway, it was short-handed as well, wasn't it? It would have been a sort of a real stab in the back, wouldn't it, had that gone the other way? But Jordan, I think at that point, only faced 6 or 7 shots in the game, and we were I think we were over half an hour in at that point. How impressive is it that he managed, I always wonder this with goalies, how difficult is it to keep the concentration when essentially you're not doing too much? Your team's dominating the game. As we were, most of the puck down in their defensive zone. And then Geordie springs into action and saves a vital breakaway. You got to commend him.
Yeah. One thing with Geordie, I don't want to tempt fate here and touch him mud, but, Geordie is one of the best goalies I've seen on breakaways. Geordie has parts of his game, that he wants to work on. I know he does. That's it. He's a young lad still. He's got plenty of, time to do that. But one thing he's always good at is breakaways, no matter if his game ain't quite where he wants it to be. I'm always real confident with Geordie on breakaways. He sort of moves well enough, and he reads the game well enough to, sort of know what they're doing. He read that from Lublelli quite early on, and it was quite comfortable really in the end. So, but again, Lublelli's obviously, he's talented lad. He's got a good shot. You never know, but I don't want to see breakaways on the power play, mate, ever. I think overall the power play was, it wasn't great last night, and that's one thing that was a little bit disappointing, and that's why I said after the game that it wasn't a complete performance from us. There's still a lot to come. PP didn't look great, and but the PK was great. He played well. There's swings and roundabouts every time, like Bobby Chamberlain could have scored about 3 or 4 goals last night. And
I think he's itching for one, isn't he? He's got 4 assists on the season so far.
Yeah.
I think he got 5 goals in the preseason.
Don't worry about him, mate. He'll tell you
I've
he's going to score 3 next game or
I've
something.
got no worries
You know what I
whatsoever.
mean? There's no lack of confidence there with Bob.
I don't think
But-
Bobby's lacked confidence in his life.
No, not once. No. So no, we're not worried about Bob, are we? He'll be fine. He had a really good game on Friday. He was a bit tired last night, a bit leggy. He's always had a tough week. Went with, Manchester. We'll probably knock that on the head for the rest of the year now. So no, we'll see how he goes. But no, like you say, look, it was a good game. I think there's definite room for improvement for us, which is massive. Because we'll need to if we want to stay unbeaten all year.
Someone sound clipping that and putting that on Twitter later. I
Oh,
can say.
I'll be getting something back for that. Yeah.
Crazy stuff. But obviously, we're going to OT, plenty of opportunity as well, and obviously, like the dreaded shootout and stuff, and like everyone was on tender hooks and that, and then obviously, Emil stepped with the pen that it just looked like he took it calmly and just did it so thing, and then obviously be at the other end making passes and then going off to winning the game. I just want to touch on this real quickly. Me and Connor were obviously talking before recording the pod. The season up to the 12th of November to get 4 points. Last season, in opening weekend. Obviously, Tom, I'll throw it to you first, and then Matty, if you won't mind answering afterwards. I mean, obviously, you'd be buzzing with that, but it pleased you 4 points, and secondly, how much of a statement was that? And I know it's early in the season, but surely that's a massive statement for the Seahawks in general.
Is that to me?
I think it was across the both of you. I don't know if there was a little bit of a mic issue. I'm not sure.
Struggling, yeah. Well,
I don't know if,
what?
I'll paraphrase while Martin may just have to reset his headphones there. But it was a bit of a stat that I sent to Callum earlier in the day. Me and Martin were chatting about it before we came on air here. It took to the 12th of November last year to get 4 points on the board. And we've done it in the opening weekend against 2 teams who finished in the top 5 last year. Tom, we'll throw it to you first, then we'll bring it across to Matty. But we've talked all summer. We've mentioned this phrase a few times, but we've talk. Now we've got to walk the walk. But there's a long way to go. It's only the opening weekend, but how much of a statement is that already? That this isn't that Seahawks that everyone saw after 20 minutes in Peterborough that everyone thought was going to do special things and then was 4-1 down after 20 minutes. We are that legit team who are here to play this year.
Yeah, I think both games this weekend we showed a lot of character to come. I mean, ideally you don't really want to be going behind in games and then coming back. But it does show character to go behind and then come back and win it. But also I think, Peterborough and Swindon, they're not like, they're both good teams, both very good teams, and I think we outplayed them both massively this weekend. And like you just got to look at, say, like last year, pretty much Leeds got a lead early on, and they kind of just stuck with it all year. And these games early on, they do matter because like everyone is going to beat everyone this year, so every result is very important, really. And like these games as well at the beginning of the year, they're cup games as well. So, a win against Peterborough away, that's a very tough rink to go in and win. It's a very tough rink. And then Swindon as well. That's, like you say, they're what you on paper you would say probably one of the top 4 teams in the league, and to get 2 points out of them, it's a pretty good weekend, I think, and we just need to keep that rolling. And like I say, it's a totally different team to last year. I mean, I think this year we should really be going into every game thinking we are going to win, and that's kind of like a minimum we kind of set for ourselves to. Because that's how you're going to win anything. You have to know you're going to win. That's half the battle first, I think, to be honest.
And Matty, we'll just throw it across to you. As you say, we're talking about that idea of making a statement. And after the first pre-season game against Leeds, I saw Leeds fans, same old Seahawks. After the first pre-season game against Sheffield, same old Seahawks. And of course, the home games, we turn them over both times. And now, 2 comeback victories in the opening weekend against 2 of last year's top 5 teams. That is a statement, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, look, fans are gonna, they're trying to wind.
We've got a few fans who do it back, though.
That's what I mean. You can't, they don't. Anyone that actually thinks that, then I don't know. They probably need their eyes testing and maybe a few other things testing, but I don't think anyone really truly thinks that it's same old. I mean, what they're saying, same old Seahawks. I mean, what do they mean? Like the start of last season, which won the Seahawks, that we've been over this, that won our team. Christmas onwards was our Seahawks team. And I think that was that was about an 8th place team. Going over the points and where we would have been if that was a full season. So is it the same old Seahawks? No, I mean, it's totally different. It's a completely different club, top to bottom. If I'm being totally honest, we've made a lot of changes, not just on the ice, but there's a lot going on away from the ice as well. To put us in a better position, going forward for the next few years as well. So yeah, look, it's people have got to think what they got to think. We'll just see at the end of the year where we are. People are going to ask questions of me. I'm pretty much a new coach as well, so people are going to have to ask questions about that. And that's fine. Do you know what I mean? There's no thing, now coming back from me on that side, it's all about proving yourself. I don't need to talk about what I am or not am. I don't really care, to be honest, what people think of me. I think people know that by now. The only thing I care about is what the lads are doing and how I'm, doing my job for them. And that's the only thing I care about. So, as long as we're all right inside and we're tight, and everyone in there knows I've got their back, and that's how it goes.
We'll move on to the other breaking news that actually broke on the morning of last Friday, on the opening game, and that is that we have signed another netminder. It is something that you did mention on the podcast a few weeks ago, Matty, that you were interested in seeing if you could get another addition to the netminding group. And Angus Lang on a 2-way with the Sheffield Steelers. I believe you spent a little bit of time in North America as well, if I'm right correctly. Tell us a little bit about Angus and what you think he'll bring to the group, Matty.
Look, I think the Angus thing, I don't know how much I should say this, but Angus was always in the plans going back a long time. Things obviously changed with the Steelers. That was our backup that I'd signed. I agreed it early on, and it was all done. Obviously, things changed a little bit. We've got Dom and Tim, and they're still heavily involved. There's no change there. Angus is there to push Geordie. At the end of the day, he's going to push Geordie. He's going to give Geordie a rest. Geordie's not going to play every game this year. He knows that. I don't think any goalie should play every game in the year that at all. It's you're not going to get the best out of that goalie if they are doing that. So yeah, look, Angus, I don't know a great deal about him. There's some lads on our team know more about him than I do. Tom probably knows a lot more about him. I know he played with him when he was younger and stuff like that. So, but what I do know is he's a great lad. He wants to be here. He wants to play games. He's played in a decent league in America for the past few years. He's takes it seriously. He's training every day with the Steelers. By all accounts, he's doing really well, and he's someone that definitely can come in and play games for us when we need him to, and he'll definitely do that.
Tom, will throw it across to you. Matt, you just mentioned you may have played with Angus when you were younger. Of course, his game might have developed a bit since then, but in terms of the general character, and Matt, you mentioned yourself earlier on in the pod, saying how well you'd fit into the group. Do you reckon he'll do the same?
Yeah, I mean, Angus is a good lad. I mean, me and him won a under-20s national finals. God, it's like 6 years ago now. That's the last time I played on the same team, and he's a good lad. I was talking to him on the trip down to Peterborough, and yeah, I'm pretty sure he'll fit in. We're a good bunch of lads, and I mean, like I fitted in pretty easily, so I don't see why he shouldn't. I mean, everyone's a good lad on the team, and I think like Matty said, to push Jordy, I think everyone needs that bit of competition to get better. There's no point anyone feeling like there's no one there pushing them, because everyone's got someone pushing them, and as a team that's gonna really drive the team forward. So I think that's good for Jordy as well, and it's another good player to have on the squad. Good resume, like you say, played in some good leagues. So yeah, I think it's a good signing, really. Good signing for us.
So we'll move on to the upcoming games, and I say when this pod gets released, we'll only be about 24 hours away from the first game of week 2 of the National Division season. Once again, we're the early game, Matty. Another midweek fixture. Third week in a row we've had a midweek trip, and it's down to another difficult place to go. It's MK. And they've had a very good weekend themselves, you've got to say. They had a 6-1 home win against the Raiders on Saturday, and then they travelled down to Ice Sheffield on Sunday and got a 5-3 victory. So they're one of the other teams with the 100% record, as are we. Of course, Matt, they are such a good team. Finished second in the league last season. Added even more strength to their lineup this year, you've got to say. It's going to be a tough task to go there, late game on a Wednesday, but we've got all the confidence in the world that we can go do a job, haven't we?
Yeah, I think, it'll be, I think it's exciting for the lads. Everyone's got these lot tips to be the best team in the league, and, going to win the league and what have you. So there'll be no, shortness of motivation for the boys to go in there and turn them over. Look, they're a good team. Obviously they spend a lot of money, clearly, and they're a team that has got quite a lot of firepower in terms of what they've signed this off season. And obviously he's a good player. I think he's probably their best player by the looks of it in terms of what's they've shown early on. So yeah, I'm not worried. I'm not worried about them. I don't think personally. I don't think they've got the depth people think they have, and I think they'll be up there, no doubt. They're a decent team, but I've got every confidence that we can beat that team.
So Tom, you've had the rest day following Sunday's games, only the one session before you go down to MK. Is that always difficult as a player to maybe have the one session to tweak things, or is it just a case of you've been on the ice nearly every other day at least, if not every day for the last 3 or 4 weeks now as a team? You know what you're doing. You've just got to put those fine tweaks on things that maybe didn't quite work at the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I think rest is a big factor as well. You need to, just as well as training. you can't overdo it. But then obviously you do need to skate as well. We've had a good pre-season, skated a lot. I think, yeah, it's just we know what factors really we need to change from the weekend, and it's we'll iron them out tomorrow, ready for Wednesday. And like you say, I think everybody's ready for this game Wednesday because, like, as a player personally, like, these are the games you want to play in. You want to play against the best players. Well, I do personally anyway, and push yourself. No one wants no one wants to be winning games 10-0 or whatever. It's boring. Like yesterday, I loved it. Great. I know it was a tight game at times, but I love that the sort of the pressure and of it being a tight game. That's what we all play for. And I think again Wednesday, good team, but we've got it in our locker room to beat anyone. I'm not scared of anyone. Like I say, they should be worried about us really because we are a hard team to play. We come at teams fast. We're a physical team, and we've got a lot of good players. We've got a lot of people that can shoot the puck, score goals. I think if you look at this weekend, like, how many different people got points. It's not just come from the same line. It's come from up and down the lineup. I mean, you got Polly there getting a goal on Friday. It's coming from up and down the lineup. So I think, yeah, it'll be a good game Wednesday, and we're just ready for it, really. Yeah.
And we'll talk about Sunday, Matty. We'll ask you this one with coaching head and business head as well. It's going to be another great game. Telford are in town. Normally bring a good following with them. And I say, we need that rink absolutely rocking once again. I saw a post online. Do apologise. I can't remember the name, but if anyone in the family is listening, they took a group of 8 of them to the Hull Ice Arena this Sunday. First ever game for the full 8. And they're going to be back again this week. They absolutely loved this. You said, your business head on Sunday was absolutely perfect to take it all the way to the penalty shots. But that's what we need, week in, week out. These games that are just going to enthrall fans, keep them coming. We want sellouts in the Hull Ice Arena, don't we? Once again,
I love people that have 8 kids. That's great. Or just big families like Burns. Burns has about 700 people in the rink, and it's great. No, it's it's great. Look, I think we're doing as much as we can, on social media and sort of away from the rink. Schools program. We've got some other stuff coming up over the next 2 weeks with sports clubs and kids clubs, hopefully, that are gonna start coming back in. And we had a big sort of we had a big deal sort of last year with the grassroots football in the city as well. So that's all gonna come as well. And we've got to keep putting our finger on the button in terms of how we get people in the door. And we've said it for a long time, haven't we? Like, we have a really good following in Hull and a real good group of people that come, and that always come. And what I have noticed is there's a lot of people that maybe used to come that maybe hadn't come for a bit that have started coming back, and that's great. But it's them casual fans that again that maybe don't know about it, like you just said, that have come for the first time, absolutely loved it. It's grabbing them people. It's taking Hull FC fans, OKR fans that their season's finishing now. Hull FC is obviously a bit earlier than they'd have wanted to.
It pains me to say it, but yeah, to be honest, they can come watch some excitement at the Hull Ice Arena. There's not been much of that at the MKM this year.
Yeah, like even if we get 100, 200 Hull FC fans that want to come and watch, real sport, or at least
some quality in black and white.
Yeah, but just a team that wants to win, and a lot of homegrown lads that are, passionate and they want to fight for the share. And I mean, Martin, look at him. He absolutely loves it. Bless him. Look at him. He's 1 year in, and he's a full on. You know what? There's so many of these like American sport fans around the city. You boys know a lot more than I do. It's just, to me, it's mental that people don't come and watch us. I know there's a lot of basketball fans and all that sort of stuff, but the level that we are playing at in this city now, in terms of not only the league and what the league is, but what our team is as well. It's insane. I mean, in my opinion, it's insane we don't pack that rink every single night. And I think it's coming. I think it will happen. I can see it being like that from Christmas onwards. This time of year is always notoriously quieter. So if that's anything to go by, we're doing all right. Christmas onwards, when stuff starts getting real and there's run up to cups and playoffs, etc., then I expect that rink to be people to struggle to get tickets without dropping anything. But we've got some other stuff coming up over the next few weeks as well that'll, I think, really excite people in terms of ticketing and stuff like that. So I won't say too much about that, but we will probably drop a little bit more of that next week on the pod. So yeah, it's looking up, mate. But yeah, we want every single seat full.
Certainly so. And so you mentioned Christmas period and beyond. I tell you what, Christmas looks fun this year, doesn't it? Friday night, just before Christmas, away at Leeds. The Saturday night there in our rink. Boxing Day against the Steel Dogs at home. Doesn't get much better than that. I can't wait for that one.
All right, that.
But then unfortunately the day after we're all the way up to Solway.
Yeah.
I think I saw Towner's programme notes. He's looking forward to spending his Christmas on a bus to Dumfries.
Yeah, tough one, that.
Well, let's talk about the game itself. So Telford on their way down on Sunday evening. Bit of a mixed start, I think it was, for Telford. Over the weekend, they went down to Dumfries themselves on Saturday to Solway for their first game and first home game of the National Division. Telford turned them over 4-2 before Telford were involved in a 13-goal thriller, as it was described. They were 4-0 down, then they were 6-4 up, and then they lost 7-6 in overtime. That's another one that swung a bit this weekend, but they're a well-coached side, aren't they, Telford? Obviously, I think it was Tom Watkins' testimonial. You were down there, I believe, over the summer. He's a very, very good coach. And he'll have that side well drilled, ready for Sunday, won't he?
Yeah, knowing Tommy, that he will not have been happy with that sort of game. I'd be disappointed losing to them as well at home, I'd imagine. So, they'll be coming hard this weekend, and Sunday will be a tough game. They always play as difficult in this rink. So, it's non-stop, mate. Every weekend's tough. So, yeah, the lads obviously again, they have that Saturday off, which is nice for them. We'll skate Friday night and then Saturday off, and then we go again Sunday, and big game at home, big game. Hopefully a big crowd and a big win.
No, I think that's the wishes of everyone. I think that's how we'll finish this one here on Behind the Curtain. First of all, I've got to say thank you very much to Tom Barry for joining us on your podcast debut, Tom. We hope you'll join us again throughout the season.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me on, guys. Cheers.
Hopefully it might be a little bit warmer than your car next time. We'll be the one.
Yeah, hopefully.
We'll have his heated seat or something, mate. Don't worry about him.
We'll have to plug it. I'm sure we got that from Pro Sports Cars.
Bells and whistles.
I've got every time.
Yeah.
Matty, we'll have to thank you for your insight as always. Pleasure to break down the games with you.
Yeah, always good, lads.
Martin, despite the technical issues, we've got to say thank you very much for joining us. He's back
now. Never a dull moment, is it, when I'm on? I'm back on the pod and I can't even get my tech to work. It's just what it is, but it's always a pleasure being on the show, as much as you can't hear or see anything that I'm doing. But, I'll hopefully be here full voice next week.
And I've got to say thank you very much for myself, Conor Lynn. Make sure that you are sharing, subscribing, and following to the Hull Seahawks Behind the Curtain podcast, whether that'll be on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. If you can, get down to MK on the Wednesday night, cheer on the boys, but make sure that you are there at the Hull Ice Arena, 5:30 face-off against the Telford Tigers. Thank you very much. Enjoy your evening, and stay tuned to more Behind the Curtain.